What's up, guys? Yeah, I'm a little late, huh? Sorry about that. Fat Apache, you might be right, my man. How's everybody doing today? This live stream was completely on a whim, by the way. So, hope everybody's doing good. I am YouTube's #1 Splawn shill at the moment. I just got my custom head shell in for my nitro that I ordered a few weeks back today, and I ordered a t-shirt with it, so that came, and it just so happened to be the same day that I wanted to do my #1 amp live stream. So the way that we have this set up right now is I actually am trying something new. I've got a little mixer board here, and I have the amp going into two different cabinets. I've got it going to an EVH cab with V30s, and I have it going into a Mezzabarba cab with greenbacks. What's up, Jacob? Yes, ESP Eclipse, Fishman Fluence. So, yeah, let's hear how that sounds. Yeah. So that was the guitar into the amp with a Deadwell duality. That's it. So, sounds pretty good in my opinion. This is my favorite amp. I kind of bought it on a whim. I bought it with a busted head shell and got a great deal on it years and years ago. I want to say 3 years ago. I made it sound like it was so long, but it's really not all that long. But yeah, so I've had it for quite a while, and I've been a big Splawn fan for about the past 4 or 5 years. And when I got this one, man, there was just something about it. This is a first-year production model. It's got the Mercury Magnetics transformers in it, which I believe he used in 2004, 2005. Then he switched over to Haybor transformers. And as these amps have gone on, they've gone through little changes, little circuit tweaks here and there. This one does not have gears, so it's literally just it's like a single channel super high gain JCM 800 with 6550 power tubes. It's got that vibe all day. So it's just a really great, raw, aggressive, tight, punchy sounding amp. I love it. But anyways, how are you guys doing? I had a whole bunch of people that were waiting for the video, and now nobody's chiming in. So how's everybody doing today? All right, sounds good. Talking to myself. If that's the case, then maybe I'll just play some riffs. Yeah, I don't care for the governor, man. I don't know the Man of War speaker offhand, but the governor just has this tunnel thing going on. I don't know why. You know, it's whatever frequencies are accented on that speaker. People say that it's like a good V30 alternative. I don't really hear any similarities to the V30 personally, but that's just me. Sneaky video. That sounds naughty. 6550. No, 6550s were pretty powerful. I'm sorry. 6550s were pretty common in a lot of old 2203s and 2204s. A lot of people would change the power tubes to beefier power tubes to get more low end, get more headroom out of them. So yeah, 6550. The naming nature of Splawn stuff is stupid in my opinion. Sorry, Scott, if you see this. It's very confusing. I honestly can't tell you with 100% certainty what each model is. I know most of them are kind of based around the quick rod circuit, with a few of the other ones being based around the nitro circuit. But a Pro Mod or a Pro Stock, I've got a Pro Mod, which is a 50 watt KT88 loaded quick rod circuit. I've got the Pro Stock, which is a 6550 loaded 100 watt quick rod circuit. Then I have a quick rod, which is the 2-channel version. It's got a clean channel, and then it's got the 3 gears, overdrives, mode 1 and 2. So the quick rod is kind of like the fully loaded flagship. The nitro is the other 2-channel fully loaded flagship that's more compressed, modern. It's got a huge low end, a lot more saturation. The competition, I believe, is just a 50 watt EL34. So I mean, it's the same thing as my Pro Mod. It just has EL34 power tubes. I think that there's a couple more. I mean, at least the Super Sport head that I have is based on the quick rod circuit, but I'm pretty sure that there's a quick rod or a Super Sport Nitro too. I don't know, man. It's confusing, so that's why if you're ever buying a Splawn, definitely ask the seller what circuit the amp is based off of, because if you don't, you may end up with one or the other and not really know which one it is that you that you're buying. So, yeah. Hello. Can you guys hear me okay, by the way? I've got the gain pretty much cranked on this guy. So, hopefully you can hear me okay. Okay, good. Yeah, KT88s are getting more expensive. They're getting harder to come by. So are KT66s. Yeah, just the way of the world, I guess. In the ESP, we have a Fishman Fluence Modern in the bridge, the ceramic one, and then in the neck, I just have a dummy pickup. It's like a pickup out of a PRS SE that somebody cut the leads off of for whatever reason. So I've got a Bill Kelleher gold dissonant aggressor from Lace that I didn't have a match to the neck pickup, so I just got a gold cover and threw it on top of this thing. I have since removed that pickup from a guitar, and I just happened to come across this gold Fishman, so I threw it in this ESP while I'm waiting for... I ordered a set of EMG retroactives for this guitar, the Hot 70s, because I think that they sound rad. But in the meantime, I'm like, you know what? I should throw a Fishman in this thing because I really want to play it. I got it a year ago. I never really played it because it came with EMGs. I don't like EMGs. So yeah. Anyways, so that's what's in there. Fishman Modern, or Fishman Fluence Modern ceramic. Doug thinks that he's going to buy this guitar at some point, but unless he ponies up $2,000, he will not be owning it anytime soon. Sorry, Doug. This thing plays incredible. Even for $2,000, I don't know that I'd let it go at this point. So, yeah. No, I haven't messed with the high pass filter on the Fishmans. I have barely done anything with Fishman pickups. How do you do that? Do you put one of the little ground things on it, Fat Apache? I don't know how to do that. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to play some tones. Okay, cool. I might pull it out and try that then, because that is one thing I don't like about this pickup. It's a little bit, like you said, it's a little bit too hi-fi. With the way it's installed right now, I don't have the voicing thing going on, so It's only voice 1 because I don't have a push-pull pot in this guitar, and I'm eventually going to wire it for passives, so I didn't really want to spend time installing a push-pull pot and wiring that all up just to tear it out down the road. So, yeah. So anyways, is my voice coming through on both, or is it just the one side? I have a couple favorite pickups, Joe, and they're probably not what you guys would think. I really like the Duncan Omega Bridge pickup. I think that's a great pickup. It's very modern, especially in the mid voicing, and clear. It's a little rolled off on the highs, but it's a really great pickup. I've got it in my Les Paul Studio. I've got a Les Paul Studio Faded that I actually need to repair the bridge volume pot on. It's messed up. But that's a guitar that I use to record the Bushido Code album with. Out of all my customs and R9 and standards and everything else, I went with a faded Les Paul Studio because I think it's my best sounding guitar. Otherwise, I love the stock 498T that comes in most of the Gibson Les Paul Studios. That's been one of my favorite pickups for a long time. I really would love somebody to wind me a 498T clone that's a little bit clearer and a little bit tighter, because those are my only complaints about that pickup. It gets a little muddy and it gets a little flubby. So I would like to do one. I don't know how you would get more clarity out of that pickup, but that's mainly what I'm after. Other than that, I really like the Duncan Full Shred. Duncan Full Shred is a great pickup. I have it in the Schecter, the blue Schecter that you guys see me play all the time. I really like that one. And then the Voodoo Custom Oculus is a great sounding pickup as well, which is in my Explorer that's sitting right here. So we'll jam on a couple different guitars today. But yeah, those are all the pickups that I'm digging right now. So let us riff. Let's riff. Woo! Dude, oh god, I love this amp. It's so percussive, it's so clear. There's really not a lot for me to complain about with this amp, dude. It sounds incredible. Yeah, it does have kind of like a quacky top end thing going on for sure. I'm definitely going to check that hi-fi thing out. I appreciate the tip on that. I might switch to a different guitar in a minute here. But noise gate of choice, Kyle, is the Deadweld Audio Golem. It's a 2-channel noise gate with a key input and a loop on it. So every pedal, you actually can't see it because I have it on the back of the board here. And if I try to flip it around and show you guys, I'm probably going to knock everything down. So I'm not going to do that. But it's the Deadweld Audio Golem. Every pedal on this board is actually going into the loop of the dead weld. So I turn off the dead weld duality, which has a built-in gate, right? I turn on the mud killer. And even though we're not using the duality, we're using a different boost, my signal is still perfectly gated. So, yeah. Strong and buff. Are you hitting on me, bro? No, I'm just kidding. I appreciate it. I actually haven't been working out at all lately. I really haven't. Typically, I try to do a few sets of push-ups every day, and like I have some 20-pound dumbbells that I mess around with, and I really want to get a pull-up bar because I love doing pull-ups, sets of pull-ups, but lately I've been kind of lazy. I've kind of been stressing out over a lot of YouTube stuff, honestly, and I also sold a ton of amps. I had to get a ton of amps ready to post. Sold a ton of amps, so now I got to pack those all up. So I've had a lot of stuff I've been trying to split my time around. Then like tonight, I got band practice tonight at 6:30, so I got to get packed up and ready for that. So I just haven't had a lot of time and a lot of energy, honestly, to work out. It's an excuse for sure, but eating the right foods makes it so if you don't work out consistently, you still don't have to worry too much about putting weight on. But yeah. What's up, Greg? How's it going, man? I sold a Shiva a long time ago, Kyle. Didn't like it. Definitely wasn't for me. I think I sold it back in like March, something like that. Lost 357 pounds. Holy hell, man. That's insane. Congratulations. A strong marshmallow, man. Dude, 357 pounds is insane. That's awesome. Congratulations. My highest weight ever was 263 pounds, which was about 6 years ago. I've pretty much been overweight the majority of my life up until I was like 20. Then I lost a bunch of weight, and then a couple years later I gained it back, and I keep kind of ping-ponging back and forth. So, yeah, right now I'm about 165. And I've been hovering 165, 170 for the past year. So that's been awesome. Usually I usually get down to 180 and then I shoot right back up to 200, like within a month. But it's just because I've been bad at controlling my diet. But ever since I got, my diet under control, things have been a lot better. I am 5'10", 40 pounds. Good job, man. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough to keep it off unless you find a diet that's not... When people say diet, it shouldn't be like a temporary thing. Your diet should be what you eat always. Always. It shouldn't be, oh, I'm on a diet. No, man. Like, you got to stick to that. That's got to be your lifestyle. Or else it just doesn't work. I know personally. 6'10". Okay, yeah, you got a foot on me. You're a big boy. Still... That's a lot of weight, but congratulations again. That's an insane feat to lose that much. Yeah, low carbs, low sugar. Just don't eat processed foods, man. That's what I've come to find. Don't eat stuff that comes from a box that contains processed carbs. Try to stay away from breads and pastas at all costs. Rice isn't good for you. People say good carbs, bad carbs. I just try to stay away from carbs in general. Like I try to eat. The only carbs I really get usually are from like nuts. Otherwise, it's all meats and a little bit of cheese for me. So, and I like it that way. I'm perfectly content. Every now and then I gotta break from that and eat like a pizza or some tacos or some ice cream because I do love food very much. But that's like once every 2 weeks sometimes. Sometimes I go longer. Sometimes it's twice in a week, and then I won't do it again for a few weeks. But yeah, carbs are terrible, man. They're fucking poison. I'm going to get demonetized, but carbs are terrible for you. I mean, obviously some are better than others, for sure. And not all carbs are bad, but I just, for me, my body reacts best to the least amount of carbs that I can put in. Um, Favorite pizza? I don't know, man. People may hate me for this, but I really just kind of stick to chain pizzas because a lot of the local places here in Erie are not good. At least the ones that I've tried. I've tried to find a local place that I like and have never really been all that impressed. So, uh, sadly enough, there's a Marco's right around the corner from my house. So if I'm ever craving pizza, their pizza is actually pretty good for a chain place, and I'll just go for that because I know I like it. Um, um, Hot and ready. I haven't had a hot and ready in years, dude. The Eclipse is a 2005, so it's still got the Godo tuners on it that you kind of have to like tighten it up by like winding it a million times. It's kind of a pain to change the strings on these things actually, but they hold tune really well. So there's that, and they're still locking tuners, so I'll probably just keep them. No reason to change them. Um, The only carbs your body seems to like is from fruit, honey, and sweet potatoes. Yeah, what's his name? Paul Saladino talks about, fruit and honey being like the only source of carbs that you should really kind of consume. But yeah, I don't even really eat that stuff. I should. I love apples. I love apples, so I should eat more apples. But anyways, how about some riffs? We'll play a couple more riffs with this guitar, and then I will switch over to. I got my Explorer sitting right here. We'll switch over to the Explorer. All right, so there's that. That sounds incredible to my ears. Um, Rapid windmill flying right hand. Yeah, yeah. People call my riffs spastic, and they're kind of right. But yeah, it's not that it doesn't handle down-tuned guitars well. It handles it just fine. It's weird. It's such a focused amp that like when you tune down and you widen the frequency spectrum that you're putting through the amp doesn't really widen itself. When you play a 5150 and you down tune, it just seems to take to those lower frequencies really well. But over here, the Splawn, for whatever reason, just doesn't seem to like widen out with the extra frequencies of a lower tuning. It's strange. I just never, I personally never enjoyed how it sounded when I would tune to drop C through it. It sounds monstrous in E standard, but it seems almost thin in drop C, and that seems like kind of counter intuitive to how you might think it would be. But that's just my experience. Just my experience. Fryhead amps do awesome with lower tunings, especially the older ones are a little fatter and a little crunchier. Like if you get a real early VHT with the kind of stick logo, I call it, the real thin VHT logo, they kind of boldened it up and put a border around it on the later models. Those ones sound better to me in general. The older ones remind me of how like old 800s sound when they're kind of worn out almost. They just have a crunchy like low end to them. So yeah, the older classics usually like I had a VHT. It was called the Pitbull 100, which was actually the precursor to the Ultra Lead. It was a KT88 model. It was a 100-watt amp, but it only had 2 KT88s. Steve Fryette actually talks about it in a Tone Talk episode with Dave Friedman, where they originally made that amp to take 2 KT88s and put out 100 watts because that's what those tubes are rated for. But the KT88s got weaker over time, and they ended up having to expand it to 4. So that's why the early ones, the one that I had, the 100, has 2 KT88s, whereas an Ultra Lead 100 has 4 KT88s, even though they're technically the same output or wattage. I don't know, man. I've never played the newer Deliverance. I hear not that great things about it. Are you talking about the Series 2, or are you talking about... There's a newer Deliverance where they didn't change the name, but it doesn't have a choke in it. And everybody else that I've talked to that has played it says it's not as aggressive. It's a little looser and just not as mean sounding as the older Deliverance. So I don't know. I have a Deliverance here. It's that's another amp that I'll never sell. Absolutely love the Deliverance. So the 50CL ratty and dry. I mean, I could see that for sure, dude. For sure. It just may not be your thing. I'm actually going to be doing a video within the next couple of days. York Audio put out today a VHT Fat Bottom impulse pack. And if you guys don't use York Audio impulse responses, dude, they're $15. They're usually $20 for a pack, but he's had them on sale for $15. $15 for a pack of IRs, and you get so many options with those things. Like, you pay $15 and you literally have enough IRs to keep you busy for forever. I'm not even kidding. He does single mics with like 10 different positions, and he gives you like 10 different mic choices, and then he also gives you combinations of mics that you can use. But anyways, the P50E, which is the Eminence speaker that comes in the VHT Fat Bottom speakers, I forgot how like mid-forward and aggressive that thing is, and I really need to get a Fat Bottom cab now because I really need to re-experience my VHT amps through VHT cabinets, because those cabs were voiced to go with those amps. Those amps are dry, and the P50E has a little bit of a fizz to it that actually makes the Fryette feel a little bit more fluid when you play it, and also the upper mids where they sit in the P50E, it accentuates those amps much better in my opinion. So yeah, his DV77 pack is awesome. His EVH pack, so he was nice enough to send me pretty much everything he has, and we've been chatting quite a bit. We're actually going to work together. I'm going to do a video on free plugins and getting good tones with free plugins. He's going to provide me with an impulse response that is a combination of two of my favorite impulses, which is, I'm not going to say which ones, but it's a Mesa oversized 412 cab and an EVH 412 cab. And it's a combination of those two with different mics and positions and stuff, but it just, every plugin that I've put through it sounds incredible. So we're actually going to pair together. We're going to give you guys that for free with the video, so stay tuned for that. I'd like to put it out next week. We're still trying to decide how we're going to distribute the free IR, because I want to direct it to his site so that people, it directs traffic to his site, because he's giving you guys his product for free. So I would like to get the traffic to his site and have people eventually buy some of his stuff, check out some of his stuff, for doing that for everybody. But They're always on sale. Okay. Yeah, I don't know, man. I've only known about them for like a month, and I think that they've been on sale for that time. But yeah, whatever. I mean, there's different tactics to market everything, I guess, and you're still getting a killer cat pack for $15. So yeah, the Bogren stuff's great too. They were nice enough to send me all the Bogren IRs, and those all sound great. And I haven't done a dedicated video on it, but I've used it in a couple of my plugins and on my Quad Cortex videos. So the Bogren stuff's great too. There's a lot of good options out there. I'm new to this whole world, but I kind of found out pretty quickly the reason I never gelled with digital stuff is because the IRs weren't that good. Now that I've found a few companies that put out great IRs, then I realize what I've been missing this entire time. That's completely up to you, Chris. Honestly, I wouldn't. The DV77 on its own is very dark compared to a V30. So it's they pair well together in my opinion because the V30 is bright. It's got that upper mid spike. The DV77 is dark. It's got more of a low end punch, and the highs and upper mids are very rolled off. So they pair well together. But DV77 on its own would be too dark for me personally. What did I miss? Anything? Mesa V30s pretty much are normal V30s. I think that was covered in Nolly's video. So there's a lot of misinformation going around on V30s. There's a lot of different voicings and stuff like that too. A newer V30 will be brighter because they were revoiced around 2010. Some of the newer ones I have are pretty bright. Just got to break them in over time, man. I'm going to switch guitars. And we'll play a couple more riffs. Got the White Explorer. I love this guitar. It's so resonant. Yeah, way more balls, man. The Fishman, that's my main complaint. It definitely has a big lack of low end. So I'm going to shut this down for a second. All right, so that sounds nasty. I am using the Deadwell Duality DX as always, and then I'm using the all pedal Slamurai as kind of like an additional EQ stage in front of the drive. I have come to find the Slammerai by itself is it's good. It's really good, but it's very clean, and it also doesn't take out quite as much low end as I would like, even with the low end rolled all the way off. So, because it's so clean, it stacks really well with another overdrive, and because you've got a treble, a mid, and a bass control, it just allows you to EQ your signal going into the dead weld without adding a bunch of extra noise, and it really just lets you fine-tune your guitar to whatever amp that you're playing even more. This is my live pedal combination at the moment. These are the only two pedals on my board other than my ABY splitter and my tuner. That's it. I use these not only as my gate, but to shape my tone going into the amp. So, hi from Japan. Awesome, man. Thank you for being here. Oh, dude, you gotta try the Duality. It's so dope. Do I prefer the Splawn over a boosted JCM 800? All day. All day. The Splawn is everything I always wanted my 800 to be. But stock. It's the modern Marshall I always wanted. It's tight. It's got a huge low end that's extremely percussive. It's extremely clear. It's got tons of clarity, and it's not as bright. It's got some of those really, really harsh frequencies that a JCM 800 has, dialed back, with the mids rounded out just a little bit more, and it's really raw and really open, just like the 800. So honestly, my JMP 2203 that's sitting up here with a hot mod in it sounds really similar to this amp, but this amp has a much bigger, much tighter low end, and it's got more clarity. So hey Brandon, like I said, it's more, it's not that they don't favor down tuning. It's more my personal preference. I just have never really loved it when I've played down tuned stuff on a Splawn. It just doesn't sit right with me. I can grab a down tuned guitar and show you guys. It just it doesn't fill out very well, in my opinion. It stays almost too focused and too tight, which, coming from a guy that loves things very tight and very focused, unless you're playing a lot of really modern stuff where you need everything to be completely focused, very tight, kind of clanky, I just don't love the way that it sounds. That's all. It's not like it falls apart. It actually stays too focused. I replaced most of my pedals with HX Stomp. Much easier now to use. Cool, man. Yeah, I've actually been looking into that as well, because the Pod Go and the Line 6 Helix that Line 6 sent me sound great, and they have lots of usable options in them, and the HX Stomp is a perfectly sized multi-effects unit. Yes, I think most people who are coming to my channel probably like things exceptionally tight. So that is with the Slammerai. Let's kick in the dead weld and then turn the bass on the Slammerai back up a little bit. Okay, so that's that. Yeah, it's like the low mids get weird when you tune down. I don't know. That's just me. That's just me. If any of you guys are interested, I'm selling a literally brand new with the box, screen protector still on it, Fractal FM3. Not because I'm trying to get the new one, just because I bought it from Joe Balaguer who owns Balaguer Guitars. He got it new and never really used it. Sent it to me. I plugged it in one time, and I just need to get rid of it. I would rather fund amps. It's a cool unit. Unit. But with the Quad Cortex, I just don't see myself using it at all. So, yeah. Brand new FM3 in the box. $1,100 shipped. How's that sound? Yes, I do prefer the Quad Cortex, mainly because the ease of use. The interface is much more user-friendly for me. The FM3 was just kind of a pain for me to navigate. I'm sure that once you get past the learning curve, it becomes much quicker, but with the Quad Cortex, I can literally turn it on as a blank slate and get what I want out of it within 60 seconds. Whereas the FM3 was just such a pain. Appreciate it, man, but I've already got a Kemper sitting here that I haven't used in 3 months either. So I'm going to have to pass on that, but thanks, Shane. The cab section on the Quad, I loaded my York IRs onto my Quad Cortex, so I don't use the built-in stuff. I found it pretty kind of lackluster, to be honest. Yeah, exactly, man. The FM3, the modulation on it is great. Like the amps that it emulates and everything sounds fantastic. It sounds really good. It was just getting to that point of actually getting the amp dialed in with the effects that I wanted was kind of a pain for me. So yeah. All right, Dusty. Have a good day at work, man. Through the T100, but I believe that is the model that Mike Soldano designed, isn't it? Pretty sure that's the Soldano one. I am self-taught, man. I picked up a guitar at a friend's house for the first time when I was a kid, because he was playing it and I thought it was fun. And I asked my parents for 2 years to get me a guitar. They didn't. My grandpa finally gave me this beat-up old, like, you know, acoustic parlor guitar, and I taught myself from there. So I took lessons for maybe a month. After about a year I started playing. I think I took 3 or 4 lessons. And my parents just decided, we lived in a suburb of Erie that was about half an hour outside of the city. My parents decided they didn't want to drive half an hour each time to practice one way. So they canceled my lessons, and that was it. And then when I was about 24, I took lessons for another 8 weeks or so from somebody, and actually learned a lot and improved quite a bit in that time. But I just didn't have, or I didn't set aside enough time to practice and make the lessons worth it. So I got to the point where I eventually just stopped taking lessons because I wasn't focusing on the material that I was learning enough to justify it, because I was kind of more focused on working and making as much money as possible as I could at the time. So, yeah, I would definitely like to start up lessons again. I've talked to Reese Scruggs from Havoc about doing lessons. I've talked to Ben Eller about doing lessons. And Jamie Slays, he does lessons. So, I mean, I might bounce around and take a few lessons from each of those guys and pick up a little bit here and there, maybe do a couple months with each of them. But I drastically need to improve my playing. I want to improve my playing. I want to expand my playing. So, that's something I'd really like to focus on here in the near future. Brand, no, man. It's like four comments above you. Brandon Ellis, yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. I'm gonna stick with the guys that I mentioned for now, just because I have relationships with each of those guys, and they're all very much in my style. So, sweep arpeggio. When have you ever seen me play a sweep arpeggio, bro? I can barely play a pentatonic stuff. You know, I'm just sweep arpeggio isn't even something that's crossed my mind. To be honest, it's not really something I'm interested in. I'm not interested in the crazy super shreddy type stuff. I actually really like more than anything like classic rock, you know, blues type solos. The stuff that Derek writes for Bushido Code actually is some of my favorite lead work. Maybe I'm biased because it's my own band, but I think that his leads on the record are just awesome. They're shreddy in the right places, but they're very musical. They're very memorable, and that's just the type of stuff I want to write. I want to write stuff that sticks in people's minds, not, you know, have a shred contest on a record. I just don't care about that stuff. There you go, man. Yeah, whatever works. I thought it was super cool to get to hang out with Reese from Havoc. He's a super nice guy. Derek took lessons from him for a while, and he was awesome. Ooh, yikes. That sucks. Hope your ankle's better. Yeah, COVID hit, yep. Yeah, that's the thing, man, is I think COVID has really kind of turned people on to doing like Skype lessons and long distance lessons. So now that's what I'm really open to doing, Skype lessons and stuff like that, because it's just easier to schedule. You don't have to go anywhere. I could just sit right here where I am and do a lesson with somebody who knows my play style and knows what I want to learn. So it's really convenient. Yeah, I agree. That stuff would be cool to learn, man. I just, I think you should. I think everybody should learn whatever they want to learn. Whoever said, oh, yeah, Fat Apache, you ended up sounding like your teacher. I could see that for sure. But, you know, I think I'm at the point now where I have kind of developed my own playing style enough that I don't think that that I would pick up too much on other people's stuff. I don't think I would start to sound like somebody else. I already have such a really particular style. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it totally makes sense to me. I could absolutely see that, and you know, very very well may happen to me too. But we'll see. I'm also very ADD, so um, like I'll get really hyped on something for like a month or 2 months, and then I'll be bored with it, and then I'll move on to the next thing. That even goes for gear. Right now, I'm on a huge cab kick, so that's why I've picked up so many cabs recently. I spend a lot of time every day kind of searching the local Craigslist, and by local, I'm hours driving distance to me, trying to find good deals on half stacks to where I can sell the head and come out with the cab either for free or for like $100 or $200. So that's how I got the Mesobarba cab. That's how I got two Marshall 1960s that I just recently picked up. It's how I got the orange cab, the JSX cab. I got a PV slant cab like that, a blue Voodoo cab. So it's yeah, I don't know. I get on a kick for something and then I move on to the next thing. I'm kind of starting to get on a kick for guitars. I really want to buy a Gallagher guitar of some sort because I talk to Joe all the time and he's a really good friend and he's been super supportive of the channel and I've never gotten to play one of his guitars. So I think I'm gonna pick up something from Gallagher very soon here just to check it out because I've always been super curious about him and heard great things. So. Um, Yeah, I mean that's the thing, man. Is like you don't necessarily have to learn exactly what your interest is. It's just anything that expands your playing will make you better. Um, yeah, I could see that, dude. Cabs make a massive difference. So that's why I've been driving that home a lot lately. How much of a difference cabs make because they are literally the voice of your amp. Like they are what is truly recreating the sound that your amp is feeding them and projecting it to your ears. So they do make a huge difference. And people, for the most part, people are coming around, but they don't put enough emphasis on their cab and speaker choice. Um, yeah, Joe, I totally agree. I'd even venture to say there's 70 to 80% of the sound, honestly. By the way, guys, if I run out of here real quick, I'm expecting a delivery, and it's appointment only. I have a carving cab, funny enough, coming sometime soon. It's supposed to be here by 5, so if I jump out of here, that's why. Speaking of Graham, slowly but surely, I have one cab fully done. Next week, I'm going to focus a lot on more of them. But I think the initial release will be 4 to 5 cabs. I'm not going to say which ones. But yeah. You don't think so, Joe? I mean, play any amp. I mean, some amps react more to different cabs than others. But play any amp through a V30 loaded cab and then play it through, say, something with like Eminence governors, and it's gonna sound like a completely different amp. It's gonna sound completely different. So I think that they're a massive part of the tone equation. Um, the percentage, whatever the percentages, you kind of make it up as you go. Um, but yeah, I think that they're the biggest part of the tone. I think cabs really are the biggest part of your tone. That's why sticking so many amps through the same cab, they tend to sound very similar. The cab has a big part of that voice. Well, that's because you're smart and other people are stupid, Joe. That's all there is to it. Yep. Completely agree, Joel. Completely agree. Cool, Dusty. All right, well, I only got about 10 minutes before the girlfriend gets home. So in that case, I'm going to riff. And yeah. Sorry. I'm going to riff before she gets home, and then we're going to have to call it a day. Kyle, I am going to do a short video on the Golem here very soon. There are some, I believe truck driver Sean did one. But yeah, not many. Not as many as there should be. It's an awesome gate, but here's a couple more riffs with the Splawn. I'm going to mess with the settings a little bit. All right, guys, what do you think? I switched it over to just the V30 for that last riff there, but that's going to be all the riffing I got for today. You guys think the Splawn should be my #1 amp, or do you think that there's better stuff out there? I think it sounds incredible, personally. Yeah, I still love it. Still love it just as much as I did, so... curious to hear your thoughts on it, though. I see a couple people saying that they really dig it. Didn't have a lot of viewers today. Normally we have like 40 to 45, so there was only about 25 on today. That could be why we weren't getting as many comments. But I definitely love it. Yeah, there was a while where Splawn was really, really popular, and then Friedman came along, and Splawn didn't really do much to update everything. You know, they kind of kept the same circuits and didn't really do anything new, and I think people just kind of moved on. If you're not updating stuff and releasing new things and kind of just, you know, going with the status quo as the industry's changing around you, that's what's going to happen, unfortunately. But in my opinion, they're some of the best amps on the planet. Like I said, this one is my favorite amp out of everything I own. So yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely be doing some more Splawn stuff in the near future. I've got a Quick Rod, a Nitro, a Super Sport, a Pro Stock, a Pro Mod. So I'll definitely do something with all of them. You'll see how similar most of them sound other than the Nitro. So yeah, I have not tried the Angle Iron Ball, or no, I have. I was thinking of the Fireball, the little Fireball. I didn't like it. I'm not a huge Angle fan overall. I don't like the way that they feel. They're very compressed, overly gained. A lot of the ones that I played have been. The Powerball I didn't like at all. The original Fireball 60 I didn't like at all. Didn't really care for the Iron Ball. So the Fireball 100 I like, the Savage 120 I like. I didn't like the Blackmore very much because it was kind of too scoopy for me, so just not a huge fan of Engel stuff, but most of the amps that I've played from them have been older models. I've heard the newer models, they've kind of opened them up, removed a little bit of the compression, removed the over-the-top gain, and now the amps sound better, so I would love to give some of their newer stuff a try, for sure. I know I like the Fireball 100. I'm actually trying to buy one. I would love to find one and purchase it for myself, but they just don't seem to pop up used very often, so if I can find a Fireball 100 for like $1,100, I would buy that all day. Yeah, see the Blackmore tonally was okay. It just didn't have mids to cut. I disagree with that, Dusty. I don't think that that's the case. I think that actually a lot more people are going to less gain and less compression and more mids. So those amps were also made in the early 2000s when that was kind of more of a thing. And in recent years, a lot of amps like the newer boutique amps that are high gain have kind of opened up a little bit and are tighter. They're not as compressed, but they're still tighter, and they have a lot more of a mid presence going on. So not that I'm saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that in my experience, that's not the case. That was the early 2000s when Engel was kind of coming into their thing. Those tones very much were prevalent. The bass heavy kind of scoop mids, buzzy, saturation, super compressed type stuff. So that's when those amps were built, and that's why I didn't really care for them. But nice, man. You want the Stealth 50 is a great amp. Any of those EVH 50s are great amps. So all three of them, you're getting a good thing. But I'm gonna peace out today, guys. Girlfriend's gonna be home in a minute, so I'm gonna get some amps packed up to ship out and send to UPS before practice here. Appreciate you guys hanging out as always. Thanks for being here, and I'll have a new video up for you guys tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. It's gonna be on the ML Sound Labs dual plugin, which seems to be a little controversial at the moment, and I know why, and I'll show you how to make it sound, you know, more thrash Damon for sure. So hope you guys have a good night. We'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.